Good morning, children. Now see page number 130, Earthquake. Chapter 12, Part 2, Natural Disaster. Now the next heading is Earthquake. Earthquake is the sudden shake or jerk of the earth's surface. See, when the sudden shaking is there of the earth's surface, it is known as earthquake. There are the earth's natural means of releasing stress. More than 1 million earthquakes rather the world each year. See, many earthquakes are happening in each year. The west coast is most at risk of having an earthquake, but earthquakes can happen in the Midwest along the east coast. See, the west coast, east coast and Midwest, these three are the areas where earthquake happens more. Earthquakes can be felt over large areas, although they usually last less than a minute. They are less than a minute, of few seconds. Earthquakes are of very few seconds. What causes an earthquake? There are about 20 plates along the surface of the earth that moves continuously and slowly past each other. When the plates squeeze or stress, when these 20 plates which are on the surface of the earth that moves, these plates squeeze or stress huge rocks forms at their edges. See, huge rocks are formed at the edges of these plates. When they shift with great force, when they are shifting with the great force applied, it causes an earthquake. Then the earthquake happens. Now see page 131. Think of it. Now see page 131. Think of it in this way. Imagine holding a pencil horizontally. If you were to apply a force to both the ends of the pencil by pushing down on them, you would see the pencil bend after enough force was applied. This pencil would break in the middle, releasing the stress you have to put on it. See, when you hold any pencil horizontally, what will happen? If the force applied on the both ends of the pencil, then the pencil will bend. Or when more than enough force you will apply on the pencil will break in the middle. It will break from the middle, releasing the stress you have put on it. The earth crust acts in the same way. Earth also moves in the same way. As the plates move, they put forces on themselves and each other. When the force is large enough, the crust is forced to break. When the break occurs, the stress is released as energy which moves through the surface in the form of waves, which we feel and call an earthquake. When the break occurs, when these break, the crust is forced to break. When the break occurs, the stress is released. That stress is released in a form of energy, which moves through the earth in the form of waves, and that waves are only known as earthquake. Measuring an earthquake. A seismograph is an instrument which is used to measure the intensity and duration of an earthquake. The duration of an earthquake, that till which seconds it was there and what was the intensity of that earthquake, we use the instrument known as seismograph. The intensity and magnitude of an earthquake is currently measured scientifically using several methods. The Richter scale, the modified Mercalli intensity scale, and the moment magnitude scale. The Richter magnitude scale was invented in 1935. See, underline this. The Richter magnitude scale was invented by 1935 by Charles F. Richter at the California Institute of Technology. The scale is based on a mathematical logarithm intended to compare the intensity of earthquakes. Mercalli intensity scale is based on the effect of an intensity of an earthquake on the surface of the planet. This magnitude scale has no mathematical basis. See, these both were there, Mercalli intensity scale and that California Richter magnitude scale. These both are having mathematical logarithm, but the last one, the magnitude scale, is not having any mathematical basis. Now, see this interesting fact. This box is given. The first seismograph was invented by Chinese astronomer and mathematician known as Chang Heng. He called it an earthquake weathercock. What are the effects of earthquake? The first one is earthquakes have many ways to leave their mark on the land, and most of them are bad. See, mostly the earthquakes are bad only. There is no good effect of any earthquake. The energy released from an earthquake is 10,000 times more powerful than the first atomic bomb. Second, most of the dangerous effects of an earthquake is tsunami. Tsunami is very dangerous. Tsunamis are giant waves that can cause floods, are up to 100 feet tall. They often strike a long way away from the quake and are very deadly. These are the deadly waves. The third one, another side effect of earthquake is fire. The shaking causes broken gas lines. Then all it takes is a spark to start a giant fire. Fire was a big problem in the 1906 San Francisco earthquake. Now see, students, now see page 132, tsunami. A tsunami is a series of huge waves that can cause great devastation and loss of life when they strike a coast. Tsunamis are caused by an underwater earthquake. Tsunami is an underwater earthquake, a volcanic eruption, a submarine rock slide, and or more like rarely by an asteroid or meteoroid crashing into a water from the space. Most tsunamis are caused by underwater earthquakes. But not all underwater earthquakes cause tsunamis. About 90% of all tsunamis occur in the Pacific Ocean. Many tsunamis could be detected before they hit the land, and thus the loss of life could be minimized with the use of modern technologies. See, modern technologies are there in which by applying those techniques, the loss of life could be minimized, could be less, including seismographs which detect earthquakes, computerized offshore buoys that can measure changes in wave height, and a system of sirens on the beach to alert people of potential tsunami dangers. See, the sirens are there on the beach to alert the people for going away from there in the safe places from the risky zone. So this was the chapter. This was the chapter 12, natural disaster.